Hello everybody, today we got another game going on here, me playing as Empire with my opponents being the Vampire Counts, and the Vampire Counts having access to a lot of really good units and a lot of scary monsters that can capitalize on terror and things like that. I've decided to bring a front line of Flagellants, which have immune psychology. They are unbreakable, they're a damage dealer, and they have frenzy, which means these guys will always do max damage. Let's see, it's kind of a weird double buff thing they got going on. So units with frenzy cause more damage while their leadership is high, but they're unbreakable, so their leadership is always going to be high. So these guys will always be doing max damage. It's much better upgrade compared to the Savage Orcs that the greenskins have. So they have immune psychology, this is what, unbreakable, and they have strength dependent. So they have this, which activates when in melee, and recharge it if they're losing melee combat. So they get 12% physical resistance and 18 melee defense, which is pretty good considering that they have no armor, melee defense being 10. So I have these guys as my frontline units to essentially brace against the scary spookiness and fear and terror that the Vampire Counts have. Over here I have a Sigmar's Sons because they are shielded, which that doesn't matter. The point is that they have the Unbreakable again. And these are a Regiment of Renown for that reason. We have a Tattersouls, which is the Regiment renowned for the Flagellants here, Frenzy, Unbreakable, and the only thing these guys have going for them is, I think it's just just a bigger unit size. Other than that, they're pretty much the same as regular Flagellants. I have 2 units, I believe, of Halberdiers. These guys are going to be my Monster Slayer units, armored, armor piercing, or not armored, I always say that. They're armor piercing, they're anti-large, and they're mainly going to be used for monster slaying and as a defensive unit. One of the main problems they have, though, is the fact that they are not immune to psychology, so these guys can break. So always have to watch out for that. I have a unit of great swords here. This is just to take on any Graveguard that my opponent might bring with him. Another Flagellants back here. I have a unit of Stone's Revenge, because, well, I'm probably never not going to bring these guys. They're just such a good unit. Immune to psychology, forward deployment, armor-piercing missiles, and they can also work pretty well in melee. So yeah, I always bring these units whenever I have the chance. Now, surprisingly, I did forget to bring my Witch Hunter, which kind of sucks. I do have a Grey Wizard here, again with the Pit of Shades and the Pendulum, just for the... they're probably the best magic spells the Grey Wizard has, besides his like double damage magic spell, but I usually take them off. Just because I like the Pit of Shades and the Pendulum. I have a unit of Demigryph Knights with Halberds. Well, since the last game, they've kind of proven their worth, so I brought them for my Monster Slaying unit as well, my mobile Monster Slaying unit. Over here, I have three units of Free Company Militia. These guys are just kind of deal with the zombie spam and the kind of lightly armored units the Vampire Counts have in their army roster. I'm going to try my best to keep these guys out of melee, simply because that they have better range stats than they do in melee. Let's see, and as my lord, I have Volkmar the Grim. He is... it's kind of up in the air with him, considering that a lot of people don't like him because he's super expensive to play, and his what do you call it, mounted unit model here, it can be abused in game because it's so large. It's just so easy to hit this thing, and it has pathing issues and whatnot. But I like him because battle prayers is kind of meh. He's armored, causes terror, and unbreakable. The causes terror doesn't matter. The unbreakable is very nice. Let's see, and he does magical and fire attacks, which is very nice against the Vampire Counts. And I believe I took off everything except for the Faith's Bastion, the Grand Shield of Faith, should be another one, and the Grand Hammer of Sigmar, which is just unit buffing things that I want to just try to buff my Flagellants. Volkmar here is not strictly a combat general, he's mainly used for support. Right, so that's my army. Over here, my opponent is kind of going off meta, so to speak. He has, is it 2 or 3? 2 units of Cryptors, armor piercing, poison attacks, regeneration. These guys deal a tremendous amount of damage and are kind of the backbone of any Vampire Count army. He has 2 units of Vargulfs. Again, these are kind of weird because they have poor leadership and they break super easily. If you just focus fire these as they're charging into your army, they usually just break and run away, but they do have regeneration, so they're kind of annoying to deal with. but mainly the reason why you bring these is just for the charge bonus, and just you sick these guys in an enemy general or hero, and they could just single them out and just kill them super fast. So very annoying and very dangerous if you don't know how to handle them. There's a unit of Hex Wraiths here, which are kind of interesting because you don't see a lot of these guys roaming around the battlefield. They're a little expensive, and they're kind of what do you call it, glass cannony, considering that they take extra damage from magic attacks for whatever reason. I think it is. They should. Yeah, ethereal unit. Here it is. Blah blah blah. So blah 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 blah. Ignore most damage of my non-magical weapons. So they do take extra. Well, they don't take extra. They take the normal, I suppose, the normal quote-unquote amount of damage from magical attacks. They do have armor piercing, which is kind of interesting. So, does it tell me? Here we go. 32 armor piercing. Holy balls! So most of the damage they deal is armor piercing. Wow, that's crazy. Also, fun fact: these are one of the only units in the Vampire Count's roster that do fire damage, which is very strange considering that most Vampire Count units take extra damage from fire damage. Right, what else does he have? We went over that. He has a Vampire Death, which is kind of strange because typically players don't usually bring Vampires of Death as Vampire Counts. They just go with the just the regular what do you call it, vampire spellbook thing, just to raise dead and invocation of heck and whatnot. But again, he's going off the books here, so who knows? Yeah, considering he's brought crypt ghouls, which will do well against my flagellants here. So 2 units of those. He's got 2 units of Graveguard, kind of standard. And here's a thing that you don't see every day. He brought Helmengorst. Now, Helmengorst is one of those units that just... It's the reason... He exemplifies the reason why you don't bring spellcasting legendary heroes or legendary generals, because they're just not good. Like, if you bring in a melee-focused unit like Karl Franz or the Bretonnian general Leovold Leoncoeur, yeah, and you single out Helmengorst, especially on this big, what would you consider large unit, he's just super easy to kill and bring down. So, like, no one typically uses the spellcaster generals except for maybe Wurzag or Manfred's kind of in between. He's kind of armor, kind of melee, and you can get away with that, but it's like a double-edged sword, but the sword is directed towards you. It's very risky to bring these things. Alright, so we're going to play button here, and we're on this very wide open snowy map. I would have profited greatly if I brought some sort of artillery unit, but again, with the zombie spam being very potent and very powerful, I'm trying to avoid using anything like that. There's this huge pit right there, so my opponent elects to try and set up in this corridor right here. He kind of gets a little caught up here, and seeing this, I'm trying to rush my army here and try and block him off. So I'm just trying to set up my units in here. I have my Free Company militia deployed to the side here, thinking that if he engages my army with this large pit right here. Oh wow, that's really cool. Can you get in here? Shit, that's crazy. Anyway, thinking that if he charges my main army, my Free Company militia will have free range to kind of just shoot over in this general direction and provide covering fire. So I'm just still trying to get my army in position here. I'm not sure how this player is thinking. Maybe he's new. Maybe he's new. Yeah, because he's not keeping his army together like that. Like, he's not keeping his army together. So this is kind of dangerous, especially. So let's see. Like the Vargulfs with the crypt with the Hex Wraiths, which is kind of weird. Helmengorst is with his infantry mob, which is pretty good. Right, so he sends his Hex Wraiths out to take my Free Company militia. Oh, not yet? Alright, he's just standing there. Right, Vampire Death with the Crypt Ghouls. Like, he doesn't even have any supporting units. He doesn't have a Mortis engine, he doesn't have a Corpse Cart. Well, Helmengorst is kind of on a Corpse Cart, quote unquote. Right, he's just, what, summoning Graveguard? Ooh, that's kind of powerful. So he has 3 units of Graveguards now, and here is Pit of Shades right here. Again, with that huge infantry blob right here, I had to take advantage of that. So Pit of Shades goes down, it kind of locks his infantry in place, doing damage over time. Very good, very good. Hex Wraiths are now charging into the Free Company militia. Wow, those Graveguard, oh, well, the Graveguard were summoned, so they're going to take damage over time because of deterioration for being summoned. Free Company militia gets charged by the Hex Wraiths. I can't do anything. I send the Flagellants to kind of support them, and the Vargulfs coming on my front line. And these guys cause terror and fear. So if I had any other use besides the Flagellants, they would have broken through my lines kind of quickly. but because I'm using Flagellants here, they'll hold the line. Like, you can already see the Halberdiers have already taken a huge amount of moral damage. I committed the Griffin Knights here, try and take down these Vargals before they do too much damage to get through my lines. Oh wow, look at that. Pendulum going again on this massive infantry blob right here that I had to take advantage of. I sent a second unit of Flagellants over here to try and deal with this little blob right here. If I clear out this little blob here that he's got my units tied down, I can send them over here and try and take care of the rest of his army. But right now, I'd stop to deal with this, essentially a horde of monsters over here. Look, see, Vargulf is already broken. He's trying to break. He's hanging in there. Right. Crypt Horrors are taking on the Sterling's Revenge, which is very bad. I don't want them having that, but because I have a Volkmar the Grim who's laying down his buffs, my units now have a, 22% damage resistance? Very good. And they're dealing extra melee attack as well. So now it's just a hodgepodge. It's just a total mess happening over here. Helmengorst is isolated. The worst thing you could ever do is he picked up my Free Company Militia. If I had a Witch Hunter here, he'd just be tearing apart Helmengorst. Vargulf's already going down. They're already deteriorating, or even disintegrating. Wow. So they're going down super fast. Sigmar Sons, they'll do well. The Sterling's Revenge unfortunately got blown the fuck out because of those Crypt Horrors here, which I can't do anything about. I kind of have these unit Flagellants here kind of in reserve here, so along with the Great Swords. I kind of don't want to commit yet, considering that there's so many giant monsters here. Right, so here we have, I guess it's like the Death Magic kind of version. Oh, it's just a roaming vortex. Alright. Huh. So that's just a worse version of Pit of Shades. I'll just drag a unit around. Drag some units around, but they'll... Look at this, they just get up. They don't care. So here's my response to that. A much better Pit of Shades. In the middle of his infantry, in the middle of his block here. And just completely abuse that. Wow. Look at that go. That's just crazy. And he commits Helmengorst, which he should never do with a Spellcaster Lord. He's just going to get ripped apart. So, now that this little blob disintegrated over here, I'm just swinging my entire army over to the right here and just try to pick apart his army. Like, losing those Hex Wraiths, the Hex Wraiths were a good amount of investment, and just having those off the field just without doing much damage, especially, is very bad play. So Flagellants are going, the Crypt Horrors are amazingly still kind of hanging on here, but at this point it's pretty much game over. His Graveguard crumbling, Graveguard's almost dead actually. Crypt Ghouls didn't do well. And now I've got the Free Company Militia kind of deployed back here, and they're just going to just start firing on the back lines here and just whittling away the rest of his army. And Halberdier kind of rallied. I got Sterling's Revenge who kind of rallied. Only 3 kills. So there's the Free Company Militia, and they're just peppering into the back lines here. I'm guessing he used too much magic casting those spells on me instead of like Raising Dead or Invocation the Heck to actually support his own army. Like again, the vampires have their own unique form of magic. Again, it's the lore vampires I think that just do that. And bringing death magic, again, you only have one pool of magic. So having two sources of magic and pulling from that same pool, very detrimental. And eventually you're gonna run out of magic super fast, which probably happened here. So now I have 3 companies, 3 units, geez, 3 units of Free Company just peppering into the back lines. We're just taking down the Crypt Horrors. Look at that focus fire. Those Crypt Horrors are just gone. Yeah, we're just cleaning house right now. Oh, poor Halberdiers. Yeah. It's literally just raining bullets and the rest of his army just crumbles like so. Helmengorst, literally the last thing on the battlefield except for the vampires, and the vampires are going to disintegrate as well. And now we're just focus firing on Helmengorst, but he's disintegrating. He has no army, and that's pretty much game. So yeah, this worked out pretty well. Not bad at all, I'd say. Post-victory. Right, so what did we do right? So, we brought an army. Well, I brought an army. It's not like you guys are actually there. Brought an army that capitalized on being immune to psychology. Vampire clans being very good at taking advantage of fear and terror and things like that. So the Flagellants, the Sigmar Sons, the Tattersouls, although they'll do poorly against the Graveguard, the Graveguard being the only armor units they do have, they'll do very well because they'll never break the line. And as long as they don't break a line, you have a wall from which you can poke out and essentially attack from behind. Grey Wizard did very well. I kind of like him again. Should you bring a Grey Wizard? It's kind of up in the air. It's my personal preference. I like the Pit of Shades. I like the Pendulum. I'm always going to use that. Volkmar, you could bring any other general. Like if you bring Karl Franz, like this would have been a much shorter fight if I brought Karl Franz, just sicked him on Helman Gorst, because it would have exemplified the fact that spellcaster generals are not that good overall. Halberdiers were okay. Again, they're the whole line. The great swords are just kind of a reserve unit. Free Company militia, probably shouldn't have brought these guys, but again, I usually just bring these guys just to fend off the zombie spam in general. Sterling's Revenge, I love them, so I'm always going to bring them. And the Demograph Knights, which again prove their worth, especially considering that, wow, they got 2 chevrons. Jeez, must have been killing shit. Helman Gorst, again, you probably shouldn't bring spellcaster generals simply because they're just so squishy on the battlefield. And bringing the second Vampire of Death, bringing a spellcaster that has a Lore of Death, very bad considering that Helman Gorst uses the lore of vampires, and you just now have 2 spellcasters just pulling from the same pool, so you're just going to run out of magic super quick. Crypt Ghouls, they would have done alright against the Flagellants. That was kind of a good pick. The Graveguard, good pick as well. I probably should have brought more of them. Yeah, because I only had, what, 3 units I could have dealt with them, and the Sterling's Revenge as well. So yeah, more of those would have been nice. The Hex Wraiths, wow, they did 84 kills, but again, it was on my Free Company militia, and having, these are like, what, 400 units, and this is like 1,100, 1,200 units, so that's a pretty good trade. I mean, like, my units were still functional, and the Hex Wraiths just died. The Crypt Horrors, they do well. You should always bring Crypt Horrors. The Varghulfs, of course, always good as well, especially if you're going to abuse the whole Lord sniping thing. But yeah, I think the main detriment was the fact that his army was just too spread out, and I was able to have spells that were just able to just concentrate on the infantry blobs and whatnot, and the fact that he had 2 spellcasters just trying to draw from the same pool, so he couldn't capitalize on Invocation from the Heck. He couldn't keep his army alive, and again, also there was no supporting units like a Mortis Engine or a Corpse Cart, so yeah, that's pretty much the game. Thanks for watching.